Afternoon and good evening. So happy to be with you. I will have a very big request in order to unmute yourself if you are not speaking. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure and an honor for us to have you all here from so many parts in the world. And there are people that are still coming in. So my name is Magda, and together with my colleagues, with Pernille from Denmark and with Lisa from Hong Kong, we will stay together 1 hour and we learn together how to elevate the coach within the leader. I really hope that you will spend with us one useful hour. And before to start, I will ask my colleagues to introduce themselves. So please.
Hi, I'm Pernille. I'm the program director for CMA Scandinavia, and I am a CMA graduate. I used to work in the corporate world for about 30 years before I went full-time into coaching and coaching training.
Thank you so much, P. Lisa?
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Tong. I'm the director for CMA Canada, but I currently sit in Hong Kong. We'll be relocating in August. Similar to Pernille, I'm still in corporate actually, but I love coaching so much. So this is why I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm Magda. I'm a professional coach with experience in transformative and systemic coaching, and I'm director of training for CMA in Romania and the Republic of Moldavia. I used to work in Brussels for the Romanian Chambers of Commerce. I represent there to the European institution. So I do not come from the corporate world as my colleagues, but I am very, very happy to be part of this Coach Masters Academy community. I started a collaboration with them more than 3 years ago. And when they first stepped into Europe via Romania. So I am volunteer in some educational projects, and I really want to contribute to the education of new generation. I teach entrepreneurial coaching since last year at the oldest university in Romania as new distinctive study discipline, which I introduced it together with Coach Masters Academy. So I will give now the floor to the P and officially start our webinar. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Magda. So if we can have the screen shared. Great. Okay, so today what we're going to explore together is elevating the coach within the leader. And we're really going to look at the environment and the impact on leadership in the beginning to sort of put a scenario around where we're starting off. We're going to look at what it means to elevate the coach within a leader. And we're going to have some real life examples of how you can apply it going forward. So that's sort of what we have in plan for you today. So let's start by looking at today's environment and leadership. So as you all know, today's business environment is a constant upgrade of technology. It's fast-paced. It's doing more with less, more countries, less time. Virtual is now the big thing. So being a great leader takes a diverse set of skills, a certain mindset, and a lot of practice. So the world around us is emerging every day. Just look at the last 2 months, how many changes that sort of happened. And it's about being agile and on point and flexible in the way we're dealing. So this means that leaders can no longer rely solely on their technical skills and know-how. They must be flexible and have the ability to do so much more in so many new ways and really follow the stream and hopefully be ahead of the stream. So the old style of I know it, I tell you and you do, doesn't really keep you afloat anymore. And it definitely doesn't keep you competitive. So our jobs as leaders often circles around matrices. So we have the EBITDA, we have the P&L, the unit compared to unit. We have country compared to country. We have best places to work rankings, Forbes rankings. And many studies shows that if we can get workplace engagement right, so the way we're engaging with the teams we're working with, then we tend to, as a natural effect, to be actually successful in all the other matrices that we're constantly being compared with and looked at. So a leader today must be able to motivate and engage a diverse workforce. Just look at who we have in the workforce right now. We have the baby boomers, the Generation X, the Generation Y, the Generation Zs are moving in and slowly becoming part of our workforce, and all have preferred modes of communication, way of working, and way of being. So in order to be successful in leading others successfully, it requires that as a leader, you communicate and be efficient and effective and be actually just, and using a variety of methods to satisfy all the different generations. You can't just focus on one. In my previous workplace, we actually had to have many different employee of the month engagement recognition things, because baby boomers looked at it one way and wanted recognition in one way. Generation Y wanted it one way, and we had Generation Z working, and they wanted a constant thank you with a little thank you card. So we need to really be flexible and make sure that as leaders we adapt to all the different generations in order to get the best out of everybody. It's also about the way we provide feedback and being able to inspire and motivate all levels of employees, regardless of which generation they're from, their background, their personality, level of experience and preferences. So it's about making sure that employee feels connected to the business and understand and feel that they play a vital role in the success of the company and not just a piece that's moved around. So that's a little bit on the environment in which we're trying to operate today, and it's a vast task. So let's move on and look a little bit at the benefits. And I think before we just get into the details there, we're going to do a little exercise with you. We're going to ask you what you believe are the benefits of for the organization, for me as a leader, and for my team when we're talking about elevating the coach within the leader. So in the chat box, you should find right now a link to something called Mentis. If you can take that, copy it, and then put it into your browser. And then we're going to ask you to contribute the benefits to the organization as you see it and as you understand it. So we're going to keep this open for about 30 seconds. So please get into Mentis, type in what you believe are the benefits to the organization, to you, or to your team by elevating the coach within the leader. So let's see if somebody is typing in. They should all be coming up here. There we go. Empowerment, value. Okay, great. That was 2. Let's have some more contributions. Oh, look at that. Trust, increase empathy, autonomy, sustainable performance, more efficient, mutual respect, empowered leaders, inspire new leaders, better management skills. Oh, long-term, ownership. Let's see, it's moving so fast now. There's so many words coming in. Intrinsic, that disappeared. Intrinsic leadership. Inspires creativity. Yeah, motivation. Very good. Let's keep it open for another 10 seconds. Let me see. Carefree, confident, value, clarity, agility, inspire new leaders, and employee commitment. Great, thank you so much. Those are a fantastic list. And I want to just share a little story before we go further into the benefits. And it was a few years ago. I was working with an organization, and they had a new leader in place. And he wanted to make sure that everything worked well and smooth and that he could get in there and get very effective, and it didn't work. So he invited me for a meeting with his top leaders and asked me to come and just sit in and take a look at how they were running meetings, because he thought there wasn't enough commitment, there wasn't enough ownership, there wasn't enough taking on. And I said, absolutely. So I went into this meeting, and this leader came in a little bit late. And yeah, it's on purpose. I'm sitting here with my phone. I'm not sending messages. He came in with his phone like this. And then I think HR needs to be doing this. And in sales and marketing, we need to go in and focus on that. And we need the deadline by this time. And literally, he went for the first 30 minutes of the meeting. He went through a laundry list and dished it out to people. And then he said, okay, anybody has anything to contribute? And everybody in the meeting was like, well, no, it's sort of already been said. It's okay, I better get on with this list of things I have to do. And the leader then came to me and said, I don't understand, I'm trying to be very efficient and effective in these meetings so that people really, don't feel that meetings are wasting their time. But I don't understand, since I've started, everybody seems to be waiting for orders to be given. So of course we had a long chat about how that meeting had run, and maybe there was different ways of looking at things, and maybe going in and looking at it from a different point of view, and things changed. It takes time, of course, but it was just a little anecdote on how I really got involved in creating these and elevating this coaching mindset within leaders. And it is a little bit about how the role has changed over the years. So happy to report that the place is running much better now. So basically, when leaders start transforming into coaches and take on a coaching mindset in their daily meetings, they tend to engage their employees at a totally different level. And one of the United States presidents, one of the first one called Adams, he once said, if your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, and become more, you are a leader. And I think there's something so true in it. Traditional leadership that involves the accumulation and experience, the exercise of power, is sort of simmering out a little bit. And we need to start looking at servant leaders who go in and share power, put needs of others first, and help people develop and perform as highly as possible. And you will hear quite a lot today about the servant leader, which is really somebody who is taking on a different approach to leadership, as Adams said it, inspire others to dream, learn more, and become more, then you are truly a leader. Because leadership is all about that mindset you put in, more than a skill set that you put forth. So by adopting this coaching mindset, leaders tends to open up a new world of exploration, mindset changes for people on board on their team, heightening awareness of self and others, and definitely of learning. That is not, we come in with all the answers, but we come in with the wanting to explore and learn and find out better and new ways. So employees in turn will feel listened to. They will feel that they're part of the decision-making process, that they're heard, and that they truly matter when they come to work, and that they perform their work and they contribute. So organization then moves away from this stiff hierarchical structure of top-down to one of more equal terms, to more of a flat structure where all minds has a say and has the right to go in and fully open up. So this creates a stronger level of engagement from the employees, and they gain a deeper level of understanding of themselves and their organization in general. So we move away as just knowing sort of the flatter surface level of what happens in an organization, but actually to go in and invest ourselves in the organization. So we go deeper, and not just through the motions, when our opinions and our thoughts tends to be listened to and actually count. So if we look at the ICF core competencies, we can see a strong connection between creating an organization in which leaders elevate their inner coach, or servant leadership. So if we look at the definition of establishing trust and intimacy under co-creating the relationship, the definition says the ability to create a safe, supportive environment that produces ongoing mutual respect and trust. So I think we can say that it's most leaders' ultimate aspiration to get to this. Not everyone necessarily knows how to achieve this, but I don't think anyone really believes that a leader will go into the work and say, how can I not create a trusting environment? I think everybody wants to go in and create that environment in which people feel comfortable, confident, and that they can contribute freely without, anything sort of turning against them. I think it's more about whether leaders know how to create a supportive environment, an environment in which there's trust and respect. It's not everybody who quite knows how to go in and do that. And if we look even a little bit deeper in the core competencies on trust and intimacy, so if you look at number A and number D, so they show genuine concern for the client employee welfare and future and demonstrate respect for clients employees perception, learning style and personal being. And this is where as a leader we learn that not one glove fits all. So to be a successful leader, we need to understand where our employees are coming from. We need to make sure we don't create this yes man or a true clone of ourselves, but rather embrace diversity and draw on its strength. And if we look at E and F, so provides ongoing support for and champion new behaviors and actions, including those involving risk-taking and fear of failure, and ask permission to coach the employee in sensitive new areas. So when as a leader, we truly can see potential in all our employees, flaws and all, and start leveraging on people's different strengths, talents, and insight, then we've truly embraced the concept of teamwork and working together. And that's where we can say that the coach is really elevated within the leader. So as strong and enigmatic leaders, it is even taking it a step further and choosing to acknowledge our team's perception, feelings, even once, so it's once the barriers of the facade and masks have been broken down, then leaders can truly harvest the benefits of a team who stays true to who they are. So once a leader can be transparent and show vulnerability and keep promises, that's the last part, so it's that clear agreement and keep promises, as ICF puts it, then the team can truly perform with heightened awareness for the benefits of all. So remember a bit when we're talking about leadership and the benefits of becoming of elevating the coach within the leaders. And if we look at servant leaders, there's a few things here to sort of summarize a little bit the benefits. And it's having the ability to really listen to the employees and hear what is being said and notice what is not being said. It's about empathy, understanding and empathizing with others. It is about the awareness that we're creating, being aware of your own as a leader and other situation, feelings, strengths, and even weaknesses. And it's about the commitment to the growth of the people in the organization. How can you best help each one of them to grow both spiritually and personally and professionally? And then it's about building those community in the organization. So a team works together to accomplish a goal, but a community works to accomplish a goal while at the same time inspiring, motivating, and aiding others within their community to fulfill and reach their potential. So it's about heightening awareness and deepening learning for not only themselves as leaders, but also for the people around them. Yeah. So on that one, I'm going to hand over to Lisa.
Thanks, P. All right, so I really like this in that, and P briefly mentioned it, in that leaders fundamentally probably feel, especially in these moments, like human doing. So you're constantly doing, especially in my organization, I know it's all about the numbers, KPIs, we're behind, mitigation plans. So it's constantly managing, which is why there's the manager role very traditionally. But what we want to shift in terms of your mindset and maybe challenge a little bit about how am I being a human being as a leader? And even for coaches, how can I help my leader that I'm coaching be more of the human being? And it's really seeing them as a person rather than as a tool or a means to get to the organization's objective. And so I asked you this: who do you serve? And as a leader, at least from my experience, a lot of times I do see leaders first serving the hierarchy, their numbers, their bosses. And of course, culturally, it does depend on, in Asia, it tends to be more so than in the Western parts. But fundamentally, what I've noticed is that that may work in maybe short, medium term. But what you want in an organization, fundamentally, the soldiers are at the base of your foundation. And if you keep your foundation healthy, you keep it strong, this is what will drive your organization fundamentally. Yes, leadership is still there to direct, strategize, point. They're the beacon. But what you want is really the people at the bottom who look up to you and say, oh, I see that you're serving me and that we're going to be in this together. And so that's fundamentally very much where P was going around, this concept of servant leadership. And that's what we're trying to elevate or propose as a new mindset for people to consider, especially for leaders and for coaches who are working with leaders. All right, so my next page here is a little technical, you could say. But what we're gonna do is just go through for people just some clarity around what it means to wear a certain hat. And as a leader, you will wear more hats than this. There's also a mentor hat. There's also a boss hat. There's various hats that you will wear as a leader. But what we want to distinguish really differently is what it means to be a manager versus a coach. And that's what we want to call forth, is this coaching piece. Ooh, it's a bit evasive, I feel it, but I'm not sure how to pull it forward. And so what we want to just give is a little perspective to compare and contrast the two roles. So I'm also going to get my assistants, Magda and Peter support me. So the first thing with a manager is fundamentally traditionally is there a person responsible for controlling or administering. That's why they manage. As a coach, it's a person who actually is in a thought-provoking and creative process. So what they manage and what they are the expert of is the process in order to maximize the personal and professional potential of their coachee or client. All right, so the next one is the primary role of a manager. And fundamentally, it really is directing, instructing, removing roadblocks, allowing for a transactional interaction. So Pete, can I seek your guidance? What would be an example of a transactional statement from a manager?
Lisa, I need you to do A, B, and C.
Fantastic, thank you. And as a coach, your primary role is really to support them through the process of being reflective. You want to get them in a reflective thinking space. So playing back what you're hearing, mirroring what you're seeing, seeking for learning. How are they learning and growing? And so Magda, I'd like to get your support. Any examples of a transformational interaction?
So first I will pay attention and I will active listening. What are they saying? And then I say, okay, Lisa, I'm hearing from you this. and that. Can you tell me more about this?
Great, thank you. So how does the wording feel like? So primarily for a manager, it is pretty directionally or framed. So again, Magda, what is an example of how a manager would pose a question or a phrase?
So we have plenty of questions here. So we can ask, what would be useful next steps, or what needs your attention, which is a very powerful question.
Great, thank you. So that's for the coaching. And then P, what about you for a manager? What's the contrast and comparison for some of the wordings?
Do we have enough budget? And do take Magda with you on the team and get this project going.
Right, exactly, thank you. And then finally around summarizing. So as you're ending the conversation, what does it feel like? And a manager usually summarizes tasks, next steps forward, ownership. So P, can you give an example of how that would be summarized for a manager?
So as discussed, Lisa, we need A, B, and C within the budget by 5 p.m. Wednesday. Magda is on your team.
Great, thank you. And Magda, what about as a coach? How would you summarize and wrap a conversation?
Yeah, I think this is a very important part when you actually draw out the new learnings of that person. So what has been useful for you so far? What have you learned? And very important, what you can use the new learning, how you can use it.
Great, thank you.
Thank
and
you.
So one of the indicators, and this is a very simple one for people who, as a leader, want to flip and flop between hats, is a manager usually does do more of the talking when you're wearing the manager hat. So just evaluate yourself. If as a leader you tend to be talking more, it's usually one directional or teaching or telling. If you're wearing the coaching hat, however, the tendency is that the client or your teammate tends to be more of the talking. So this is just a very simple indicator to allow you to feel and be aware, which hat am I wearing at what time? And the ideal setting is usually managers can wear it in either one-to-one, team setting, business setting. In a coaching environment, though, we do recommend that it is a one-to-one basis because it's very personal. It's designed to interact with that one person based on their needs. And then who does more of the talking? So again, the manager does more of the talking and the work, both. And then the team member is the one who does more of the talking in a coaching environment. All right, so I'm gonna move on. And this is fundamentally how to wear the hats then. And so what I'm going to start with is just the CMA framework. And it's so funny, when I was creating this, I was like, oh, it just matches. Because the idea of the flow is really first creating awareness. So there's two pieces that we've tabled here to share with you today. Is really as a leader, what you can do and how you can go about it. And then as a coach, supporting a leader, what that also means. And so it's the awareness, clarity, and choice conversation that frames how to go about making this work. And so the first piece is really being aware. And so for a leader, are you aware of which hat you're wearing when? And a lot of leaders will say, well, how am I supposed to know? I don't pay attention when I'm having a conversation. Right, we recognize that. So a tool to consider is you could record the conversation for yourself with the permission of your team and play back and just really listen. And this is what being reflective and seeing yourself in the mirror is super useful to do. For a coach who's going through this and supporting a leader, it's really what do they know about themselves when they're a coach versus being a manager? What do they know that they don't know? So for example, the one thing that comes up a lot in my conversations with people I'm trying to coach in my organization is, I can't seem to delegate. Everybody comes to me for decision-making. Okay, so what is it that they don't know about this situation, that why everyone is coming to them? What do they not know about themselves that make this happen? And some interesting learnings is, for example, that they give the perception that they need to sign off on everything. They've not empowered the team, right? So this is something they're not aware of, that they don't see in themselves. So as coaches supporting leaders in this process, it's really getting to explore that piece that they don't see in themselves. And that's what this awareness piece is. And then what do they need to know to help them be aware and act on it? All right, so the next piece is around clarity. What really matters? So for leaders, what matters will vary depending on the business cycle, depending on the role, and where they are in their development. So understanding that is pretty important for them as well. So are you interested in developing yourself right now, your team? Or you want to be a coach to work on yourself, right? So just understanding that is important for them at that moment. And then for people supporting leaders through this is, well, what is their personal leadership desire? What is it that this person really wants to do in mind with, the mindset of servant leadership to support their team? And the thing to keep in mind is sometimes there is a sponsor's angle. So you'll need to take these two positions into consideration when you're working with the leader. And then finally, it's choice. It's making a decision. All right, I like, I've used this one before, is you have 3 frogs sitting on a log. And one of them decides to jump off. How many frogs are on the log now? 3! That's because it's just the one frog only made a decision to jump, but doesn't mean that he's committed to jump. And this is where, as part of the choice conversation, as part of coaches who know the process, we need to move to that accountability piece. And so for a leader, it's really being conscious. What am I going to commit to truly for myself to elevate this coach within me? And as a metrics, that we love metrics, is how do I know I'm doing it right? And that's really only self-reflection, right? What is it that you really want to take away? Is it your team's respecting you or coming to you in certain situations? Less about making decisions, but more about guiding, advice, not about the work, but about the person. And that's a question that each leader will need to come up for themselves. And finally, for coaches who are supporting leaders through this, we need to push the accountability. What is it that we want them to take action on, own, in order to really drive and bring out that coach that they want as a leader? And then how do you measure it? How do you know that they're doing it right? How do they know they're doing it right? How can they self-regulate that they're on track with how they want to develop personally? And so for me, I just want to wrap up that beyond this, it's not just for leaders. What I see it happening is it goes with friends, wearing the coaching hat as a friend, as even as a parent. And I do see this with my kids. So when I have 2 teenage girls, and you can't imagine what that's like in quarantine. But every time one comes to me like, mommy, she did this and this, and I'm so upset. Actually, then I know to put on my coaching hat and just connect and hug them and then say, what would you like to have happen? And it's so powerful just to remember that some of these tools that we have as coaches can support us in any situation. So that coaching hat just comes on and off all the time. All right, and with this, I'm going to hand over to Magda. Oopsies.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you. So I'm very happy to share with you one of the project I was involved in last year, a project very dear to me, close to my heart and soul. And why this project and not others? I was involved in the corporate world because I have the privilege to accompany some Microsoft leaders during several months. And I can notice their changes from one session to another. I can see the magic of coaching in action. Exactly as Lisa said, it is a meta profession. Coaching, the skills and the abilities that you acquire through this profession, you can use it. Doesn't matter what job do you have. And I like this one with included a parent job. So the opportunity to participate in this project was due to the fact that I was a Coach Masters Academy faculty member and member at the Invite Change team, working together with them and contributed to the overall positive experience. So Microsoft was rolling out a new management framework to its leaders centered around a psychological insight called growth mindset. So what is all about this growth mindset? Will you be so kind to go to the chat and put some word there, what it is for you, growth mindset? Let's see. Future oriented. Thank you. Believing you are a work in progress. Very good. Fall forward. Yeah, so feed forward. Open for new ideas. Willingness to learn. Abundance thinking. Thank you so much, Lena. Being a learner. Yes, rather than skills are fixed. Yes, well, wonderful thoughts here. Able to develop, learn and grow continuously. Yes, able to develop, learn and grow. Thank you very much. Yes, so this was at the base of this project, and this tech giant, because they do not need any more presentation, was instilling growth mindset at a scale through new coaching initiative for its manager. So indeed, you treat mistakes as learning opportunities, and you like a lot the feedback. We call it feed forward, what we can do better next time. The idea of this growth mindset has embedded itself in Microsoft's rhetoric. So they applied in this new management framework, model, coach, and care. How they did it, this thing. So Microsoft managers were asked for a clear definition of their roles and expectations, and over the course of 2 years, they worked on an answer, interviewing thousands of employees and did focus groups and surveys. So everybody rolled up their sleeves and came up with their revised definition of the role of manager, which is to deliver success through empowerment and accountability by modeling, coaching, and caring. So this new set of expectations rolled out 3,300 managers across the globe last year. I was part of that lot of invite change of 900. So what it is modeling? Means to leave the Microsoft culture and be an example for employees. So managers should show that they practice this growth mindset so that their employees to have a framework for how to approach problems and how recover from setbacks. On the other hand, coaching is about defining team objectives and helping the team adapt and learn. Managers should increase and create a space where the employees can learn, exactly as you said, from their mistakes, can unlearn and relearn, and emphasize their potential to grow and learn. And caring. This was the last part of the model that has been the most widely accepted and widely liked by employees and the manager together, exactly as P speak about this servant leadership. Their manager have an expectations and responsibility to care, to doing things like attracting and retaining great people, knowing each person's capability and aspirations, and investing in the growth of others in order to help them to maximize their potential. I pick up some testimonials from Microsoft leaders. We have plenty of them from all over the world. Lisa, will you be so kind to put the slide with their testimonials? So we have from different continents, from America, from Europe. And here we are. They consider this experience very helpful. This is exactly what they need to do to help their team to progress and have more impact. Learning and questions were very useful in getting the team more energized and coming up with good solutions to our challenges. Being able to reflect with an experienced coach helped to build a much clearer picture of how coaching works. I can already see how I can start to include it more in everyday conversation. Why? Because coaching becomes a way of life through acquiring all these skills and abilities. Knowing is not doing, of course, is not the main point. As a leader, it is to rely on people and guide things forward. At Microsoft, we are very direct. I'm usually quick to provide a solution. This is what I have been doing for the last 10 years. Through coaching conversation, I'm seeing that I am beginning to leverage other people's idea. I find it very interesting to see how I am able to get on the other person to think and come up with idea. So they find all this overall experience very valuable. They said, when I'm coaching, I'm thinking, what can we learn? What can we do better? And last one, I'm learning to step back and to be more patient. So it was such a privilege to see the Microsoft leaders, their changes from one session to another, how they changed their hat, exactly as Lisa said. As a leader, you wear mentor hat, and our role as the coaches in this project was to help them to acquire more and to use more coaching skills than the mentor skills in their relation with their direct reports. So now I want to introduce you one instrument that it is considered the mother of all tools. It was invented by so-called the father of the coaching in the world, Tim Galway, the author of the series The Inner Game of tennis, the golf, music, work, and so on. So this instrument is called STOP. What it means? It means it's an acronym from step back first, then think, then organize your thoughts, because this is the way the people learn, reflecting on what they discover. And the last one is proceed. So please take this with you in your mind, and each time you want to react, just step back a little bit in order to help ourselves to be more reflective. Okay, so let's see. As you know, Harvard Business Review says in an article that coaching is an essential tool for achieving business goals. And yes, as coaching develops the organizations, people in turn allows them to deliver their business goals in support of the organizational business goals. So as leader, the coaching tool is simply part of the toolbox that great leaders carry. Building this tool and sharpen it is knowing when to use it. All elevates the leader's ability to effectively engage their teams and their stakeholders. But professional, artful coaching requires more than mastering how to. It demands coaches to fully immerse themselves in a journey to understand their value and purpose, and at the same time to awaken their call to inspire change. So it begins when we are prepared to accept that true holiness will require us to face our greatest fear, to be open to our weaknesses, and to accept their vulnerabilities. We cannot bring a client somewhere, where we have not been yet. Because the way we are is the way we coach. And the way we coach, it is the way we are. Purnil spoke today so nice about trust and intimacy, this powerful ICF core competencies, this trust and safety, which is so important, especially nowadays with this pandemic. And then we hear Lisa with the importance of active listening. I want to underline a little bit the importance of another coaching competency, which is communicating effectively. Part of this is active listening, but has another two big components: powerful asking and direct communication. Not directive, direct communication. So in order to improve this, I will give you some small tips, and I will kindly ask Isaiah to put this slide. What is all about? It is about ask a little more and speak a little less. So ask one question at a time and then pause. It is so important to pause, because this is the space where the people start to think different. One important question here will be what it is on your mind, and then pause. Being very attentive here and active listening, what are they saying? We can identify three important P: project, people, and patterns. The other one, it is the cut the intro and ask the powerful question, what else? Through this powerful question, we will have more options, and we will have better options, and better decision, greater success. Should you ask a rhetorical question? Yes. These are very important, because focus on the real problem, not on the first problem. Usually when the people are coming to the coaching conversation, they come with a topic, with the first one, which usually it is not the real one. That's why we should ask, what is the real challenge here for you? What is the real problem here for you? What needs to be done? The first one is stick to the question starting with what, and please avoid the question started with why, because why make a person to be more defensive and give you a lot of details and facts that are not anything else than noise. So asking the question with what, for instance, what do you want, increase this TERA. This is an acronym from tribe, are you with me or against me? Expectations, do you know the future or not? Rank, are you more important or less important than I am? And autonomy, do I get a say or don't I? So these TERA help us recognize the need, and through the need we help addressing the want, and this is a way to draw out the expression of desire. The fifth one, it is get comfortable with silence. Give the person the chance to think and to search for the answer. If you will ask, how can I help? This will give you a clear and a direct request and stops you think you know best. So we should be very curious and listen to the answer. Please stay curious and active. The seventh one is acknowledge the answer you get. Because people, as I said, when they have the chance to recall and to reflect on what just happened, they have new learnings. And through these new learnings, they will move forward. The most useful question here is, what did you learn? What was the key insight for you? What was important to capture? So please use every channel you have in order to ask questions. And bottom line, it is ask a little more and tell a little less. Okay, so with this in mind, I want to share a very short story with you. It is about how I elevate the coach within me, and since coaching became my profession and my passion. So since I graduated my first coaching school 11 years ago, and I experienced on my own the magic of coaching, I feel to serve. We speak so much today about the serving, but I really feel to contribute in a way to the development and to the growth of this professional coaching, especially in this part of Europe, and to share with others this magic. So I was wondering a period of time what to do to raise awareness about this art and science and to introduce coaching culture in organizations. So 2 years ago, together with two coach colleagues who believe in this idea, we started to organize a series of events called Agape International Coaching Conference. So for those of you that are curious, I will copy the link. I will ask Lisa to copy the link. It is the afternoon movie after the last event we organized last year in Romania was Good Leaders Manage Teams, Great Leaders Change Lives. So you can watch this after we will finish this webinar. At the first two sessions, we have over 600 people came in Romania from more than 26 countries, 5 different continents. And I can see here also people that join us. Thank you, Azadeh, and thank you one more time for being part of our story. So why Agape? Lisa, can you put the last slide, please? Agape, because this word means unconditional love, means charity. And I really think that as coaches, we should honor this a lot. So this was the concept, and the logo, it is the majestic bird. It is a very common geometric figure, part of the sacred geometry that embellish the traditional Romanian blouses. They sew these blouses, and when you wear it, it is like a shelter and protect you from the evil. So this special bird lives in a magical realm, the one that permits to the Romanian legend, the Prince Charming, Făt Frumos as we know it, to use his hymn, I mean the who, who is the symbol of freedom and victory and joy. And I make a similarity to coaching, that the clients achieve their maximum potential and live a more flourishing and meaningful life. So it was very interesting for me to go to the root of this word potential and to discover its Latin root, the combination of two other words, potis, which means able, and esse, means to be. So to be able, to have authority and power to be effective in action. So potential is a condition of having power that is potent and has not yet coming into being. So I let you today with this question: what stops us from naturally expressing our full potency? So what stops you from naturally expressing your full potency? Thank you very much. So I am very aware of the time. We give you several minutes right now to tell us what has been most useful for you today in this hour spent with us today. And thank you very much for making time. And if you have some Q&A also.
And just for tomorrow's schedule before we close is that we have a live coaching session tomorrow with Ben. And we are looking for a client. So if anyone has a juicy topic that you want to table, something that's bursting forth that you really want to table, please email Maya and we'll get that arranged. And then also tomorrow afternoon is the Rethink and Redefine Professional Coaching, a dialectic or dialogic conversation, which is similar to this morning's session, but with new and updated material. So if you joined this morning, please join again. All right, we can go to the questions or comments.
But maybe we want to hear you. Yes, Patrick, please go ahead. We want to hear your voices.
So thank you very much for this very inspiring session. And I have a question here because it's quite interesting to see that we moved from a coach, professional coach, to a coach in a company. And here I think I'm a little bit struggling because it's a different posture. And I don't feel comfortable when team coming back. You know, in a professional coaching, you agree with your client to have a 30 or 45 minutes conversation, and it's a mutual agreement. In a company, when someone come and see me, I am managing director of a company, I don't feel comfortable to telling them, okay, I'm hearing here two things, blah, blah, etc., etc., etc. And to change the posture within your role is really the most difficult things that we have to do, I think, when you're in a company.
That's really good awareness, Patrick. So knowing this about you, knowing this in you, I would ask you back then, what will you do with this learning as a leader? Recognizing this challenge and this uncomfortableness.
I think the fair way would be to inform them that I'm following a coaching courses, for example, and that I would like to adapt my posture to this new learning. But so far, I haven't made that step.
I understand. I think when I work with leaders, and P and Magda can jump in, is that when we kick off a session that's very similar to this, the leaders, the first thing they'll say is, but I can't record a session with my team. It'll be so obvious that I'm trying to upskill myself and be better. And that's part of the vulnerability. Yeah. I just want to leave it right there in that, what is it that you're noticing about this vulnerability about yourself then? And anyone else who's a leader, who's in that, that's what I would offer.
Yeah. Okay.
P, Magda, anything you want to pitch into?
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, P, go ahead, please.
No, I was just drawing some parallel also when I was working in the corporate world, and I see where Patrick very much is coming from. It's about creating that awareness of, okay, this would mean a shift in the way I am. Now, I think we need to remember that leadership is a mindset more than a set of skills. So it's about changing little by little. And it could be simple things by just when you're in a conversation saying, I hear three things, instead of saying, okay, I've heard it all and this is the direction we're going. Not that it's so direct and so forceful, but it's just finding little things, little by little, that we can add in. when I was in an organization, I was often told, but it's going to take so much longer, you know, if we have to sit and talk around it. And it took some time, but I actually proved that it didn't by just changing everybody little by little's mindset, giving everybody enough time to speak, helping summarizing what was being said, helping people to look at it in a different way. It actually took the same amount of time, but with better results, because suddenly people were allowed to take the time to think out loud without having the final conclusion already, but actually work through the ideas in front of a team, and that it wouldn't be cut off midway through, that we had to go into a meeting with the final answer served on a dish. So it takes time, but it's about finding the little things step by step that helps change, first of all, our own mindset, because it is a mindset change for us as well, but also the people with whom we are managing or dealing with or interacting with on a daily basis. I hope that helps a bit, Patrick, but it's a process. It's a process. Great, thanks.
What I just want to add here, it is that it is nothing is by happens, and it is systemic. We are with our clients in a partnership. We co-create with them, so they reflect in a way what it is in us. As I said it earlier, that the way we are is the way we coach, and we cannot bring a client where we have not been yet. So we are learning. We cannot say that as a coach, our journey is finished, even we will be MCC, because we learn and we change together with our clients. I don't know, is this help, Patrick? Thank you. Thank you very much. We have another question here from Lisa. Can you see the people that raise hand?
Yes, James. James, hi, James.
James, where are you, James?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I'm in Uganda. This has been a very, very lively session with a lot of insights. It is very close to my heart, because one of the reasons, my motivation for doing the MCA program, I'm an accountant. I lead an accounting firm, and I want to turn my entire environment of the farm into a coaching environment. So this is a very, very useful session for me. I would like to get some more tips on how I can turn all my supervisors, all my managers, all my partners into coaches, and we bring a whole coaching methodology into the farm. That's what I want to do. Right now, all of them are undergoing training with the Harvard Business School programs. So right from supervisor to partners, we're all undergoing training. So I would be happy to get more tips on how I can change that entire system and make everyone a coach, and use the methodology to make sure we inspire our teams, we empower them, and we totally change the working environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, James, for your sharing. And I want to acknowledge you for your committed intention. So halfway, you are already done. You are already there. So good luck.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think, James, just to add in there, it's difficult for us to sit and say what the steps should be, but I think it sounds like the steps that you're putting into place are already thinking with a coaching mindset rather with a manager's mindset, by having put everybody through some training that will help them. Probably you have identified within them what it is that needs to be elevated to a different level. And then it's just in your own way of being with your teams that will help inspire that. So good luck with that, James.
Thank you.
So for those out there who have heard James' heartfelt desire, that it's wonderful to have a great workplace, isn't that? But we all know that to build a great family, it doesn't happen over time. Well, you can attend class and learn some good skills, but that's not enough. And that's the trap here, that organization taught that by the way to build a culture or to change the culture, let's get some training done. Well, if that is true, the analogy that they are thinking is fundamentally flawed. Why? Because the way they see a product is like this is a factory, put some raw material inside, process it, book, culture, ta-da! Well, been it through many times, and that's the failure. Okay, you can't just think, oh, a training, a workshop will do the job. It's like outsourcing your kids to somebody else to take care. How we go to church and we cannot just outsource the whole, teaching the values to 1.5 hour, 2 hours Sunday school, and the rest of the time just expect them. Why your Sunday school teacher never teach you that? Why your teacher never teach you that? Oh my God. It doesn't work that way. To create a culture, there are a lot of pieces that has to be put in place. And Magda has shared, Microsoft as a huge MNC, it's massive. You had to do mindset shift, behavior shift, and you have to have different ways of targeting people at different levels. They are just young junior executive coming in. They are just leaders, individual contributors, team leaders, supervisors, team, head of departments. Well, there's a lot of things that have to put in order to raise a kid well. Okay, and you have to prepare, number one, that is going to be a long haul. Well, I wish that that is not true. Just like just like recently, Kenya Airline came to us and asked us to train 500 of their managers, and the request that they say is, can you change them to be a coach with all these expectations, in 2 days? Wow. I wish I can. I say no. Then you are not lean approach. You are not effective in your training. Yeah, I'm not very effective in changing someone into another person in 2 days. I admit that. Go, and I say yes. But that whole shift has to requires a lot of things. Number one, leaders to personally experience the change themselves. You need to make sure that the stakeholders are being coached, because if they are not being coached, it's very easy to talk about strategy. Yes, coaching culture, collaborative, collective, good communication, metric, roll it out. It's not going to work. Okay, it's not going to work because this is not a factory production. You had to put in certain elements, experience coaching themselves, group coaching, team coaching, facilitating them, getting them. The workshop has to be changed, not just e-learning. Yes, it's e-learning to give basic knowledge, but there's also they need to experience live the power of facilitation, collaboration. So all this is design work to help to bring that coaching culture inside. Is that useful? Yeah. Okay, thank you, everybody. Is there any more interesting questions to ask our panels? We have three wonderful ladies with lots of experience in implementing and working with their leaders, back in their corporate before they become a coach. Okay, it's good to tap onto their experience and how do they navigate through this challenging position. Not easy to be a coach and a manager at the same time. No. You get very confused. Am I a wife or am I a girlfriend? There's a world of difference, huh? Sometimes anyone would like to ask any questions. We have lots of faculty staff here who can share with you their experience, how they navigate the role between a coach and a leader or a manager. Any interesting question, practical experience that you like to tap on?
I would like maybe to ask one more question.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Regarding the culture. And we know in Asia, for example, there is a strong culture of respect and faith. And it's quite difficult sometimes to get feedback, to get also this kind of collaborative way of working because they don't get use of it. And then we are seen from our HQ in Paris as people a little bit more directive than maybe the average in the US or in Europe. But on the other side, it's quite difficult sometimes to do differently. So, but as coaching is art and science, do you think culture is really part of it, and how culture interfere in this art and science thing?
Well, let me just give you a few tips and then I'll ask Leona and other faculty staff to come in. Okay. Number one, get on with life and just accept that culture is going to be an important part. They're going to interfere a lot of things. Okay. That is an indisputable fact. So be smart. Be political. Lisa, what's the word to be intelligent in the politics? There's a word for that.
Politically correct? Is that what the word
No,
is?
to have that to sense how the politics is floating around. Okay, that is that sensing of just feeling the atmosphere. What is this environment, and blend according with that. So if you are in Hong Kong, just go for a beer first. Okay. If I'm new to a team, if I want to use a collaborative approach to work with my team, first thing first, let's go for a beer. Thereafter, let's do our job. And same for career culture. It was an experience for me to work with Korean students. And I just realized by just spending, when I first start the first day training with them, they're absolutely quiet. Trust me. If I ask them, anyone got any question? Yes. Okay. And then what I do in the evening, I say, hey guys, I'm new here. Show me around what you guys eat, and no, just show me whatever that is. So we went out and eat. And as we began to eat, we talk and we drink and we extended a little bit. Next day, they are totally different. Oh, of course, they're still very respectful, but they tend to open up. So my point is, this has nothing to do with coaching skills. Yeah. Has a lot to do with your own way of blending into a new culture. So I'm going to open up for our faculty staff to just give their own thought around it.
I mean, if we're talking about culture, I can share a little bit, having worked in Asia for many years as well. And it is true, when you come in from a European mindset, it's very different. And what I learned very quickly was, so there's your own culture that you come in with, there's the local culture, and then there's the company culture. And it's going and finding the perfect marriage between that. And one thing I learned was to first understand my own culture. And it might sound weird, but really understand, why are we doing certain things in my culture? And how can that look different in the sphere of the company culture, but also more so in the sphere of the local culture you're dealing within. And then start drawing parallels, but also seeing where there's obvious differences, and not being shy to talk about them. It's like in a coaching conversation, we bring the big elephant in the room out in the open so that we can look at it 3D, and so that everybody can actually understand where the big differences is. And then again, draw it back to the cultural of the company that has been created that we want to carry forth. So that's sort of a little tip that I've been working with for many years. And then it takes a long time to create a culture, or to adapt a new culture, and it's just keeping that in mind. It's work, and it's how we are, how we perceive things, how we come across, and how we sometimes step back when we know that we have maybe overstepped somebody's personal interpretation of a culture. So it's about the awareness.
Good. Yeah. Can you see the opportunity here, guys? An opportunity to coach expect executive. Woo! Yes, Martina and Marian, they will share with you. There's a big market here, because everybody understands communication is the key. And they all understand the big elephant is in the room. We have different culture, and if the communication skills is not addressed, thing doesn't work. But the point is, we don't need to go to a communication skills. Well, of course, if that can be done easily, but really what is useful? Have the person being coached by an executive coach to expose the biases. That's a huge opportunity. Okay, great. Anyone else? There's a lot of good discussion on the chat box talking about faith and respect. Big time in India, big time. Not only culture, but the gentle, how we perceive power and stuff like that. You know, so being adaptable is really the key. And you can see leaders really need coach because a lot of such issues that we're dealing with is a very personal, people's soft skills. And it's like, I know it. Yeah, who doesn't know that? I need to say, oh, what is it that in your mind? Can you just explain? Who doesn't know? But I'm coaching you to be aware of your tendency to respond and help you through the process of coaching learn more about yourself so that you can use that awareness to make more choiceful change on very obvious thing that you know. Okay, can you see a tremendous, huge market that is available for professional coaches once you hone into these skills of evoking awareness, clarity, and understanding, and helping leaders to be a better, effective leader? Isn't that wonderful news? And trust me, those who are already in the 50, mwah, you are the cream of the cream, because this profession is a profession that looks for that 100 years old XO. The longer you keep that that wine, the more expensive and valuable that is. Okay, so with your age as your experience, you know, wow, trust me, this phase will never get a lot of CEO coaching engagement. And with Patrick face, trust me, wow, just shows Patrick photo. Okay, this is a coach for our CEO. Okay, so the rest of it is really building that capacity. So there's a lot of opportunity out in the market for professional coaches beyond just training people to be more coach-like approach to coaching leaders and helping them to be aware of their biases. Great. One last question. Anyone? Is that Kati? I saw you unmute. Oh, no, she's not. Okay, great. Let's save. Anyone? Any questions? 5, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1.5, and 1. So let's just have a few people to quickly share what's your takeaway in the popcorn style. Okay, Patrick, so what's your takeaway? Just one keyword. What's your takeaway today?
You're on mute, Patrick.
Patrick, go. What's your takeaway today?
My takeaway today: coach change life.
Cool, well done. Patrick, call upon another person that you can see on the screen.
I can see Magda. No,
Magda. No, Magda cannot.
This one.
Thanks.
Anna.
Who?
Anna Bilina.
Anna Bilina, you're called. Where are you, Anna? Anna, what's your takeaway?
Hi. Hello, everybody. What I take today is that I think I'm on the right track because I just signed up for the program yesterday and I began doing the reading material, and today is my first conference, and with common experience in 10 years I will be 50, so I feel I am on the right track.
Well done, Anna. Well done, and welcome to the camp. And I can just call one more person, a gentleman.
Azadeh Entezami.
Azadeh. Azadeh, you can call another gentleman.
Okay, I'll call another gentleman. Hugo.
Hugo. Woo!
So what stayed with me was this STOP acronym. Yeah, the idea of stepping back, taking time, thinking and organizing, not just the actions, but organizing the thoughts. Yeah, I think something there was interesting for me.
That's right. And that's really the hallmark of our CMA ACC conversation, a transition from reactive to receptive. And the ability to organize is ability to make sense. And that's why, Patrick, we do bullet, you know? The way of bulleting is a way of organizing what you hear, what you're processing. I mean, how can you organize something if you don't process it? And how do you know you're processing if you cannot break it down in parts? I mean, everything makes sense. Got it? So let's give everybody a round of applause. So join us tonight. That is, what do we have tonight? There's another one is on coaching for performance. Yes. Okay. So today we talk about leadership. Tonight we're going to talk about performance in regards to the piece of awareness, how awareness is I won't say the important piece, but one piece to accelerate your performance. And those who are helping to bring performance in, now don't miss tonight's session at 9 p.m. And please join us again tomorrow 9 a.m. in the morning for live coaching demo. And we really desperately need a client. Okay, if not, I will self-coach myself.
I have already been.
Okay, take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.